Good morning, good afternoon, or good evening. Welcome whenever you watch this. My name is Ines and I'm coming to you from Germany. I live about 60 kilometers north of Berlin, and in my little video I want to share my crafting adventures with you. But before I talk about knitting and crocheting and sewing and maybe spinning, I would like to thank David from the Dog Dare podcast for his brilliant idea of a dare along. For almost 2 years I have thought about making videos in English, but for some reason I never did. And well, today's the day. Yay! So let's start with the crafting adventures, shall we? And my crafting adventures started when I was a little child of 6 years, and I admired all the things that my grandmother could do. She crocheted quite a lot. And I asked her to show me how to do it, and I learned the hard way, really hard. I had to do chains, like long chains, and she would rip them apart, and if I had made a mistake I had to start from the beginning. And so it went with all of the stitches. I learned how to crochet, but I lost motivation. And as it happens, a few years ago, maybe already 6 years ago, I don't know, a friend of my brother's wanted to crochet herself a hat, but she had the problem that she had quite a big hole in the middle when she started. And so she came to me with this book, because it was a pattern out of this book. It's Mützenmacher, hat makers. And yeah, I crocheted the hat for her, and then I crocheted a whole mountain of hats for my pupils, and never crocheted any hat for myself because I do not wear any hats. But I'm planning to make another one, not from out of this book and not in crochet, for my brother, with my with the yarn that I'm spinning right now. But more about that when and if I make another video. Yeah, and the first project I made for myself, I crocheted for myself, is this crochet hook or needle holder. I found the pattern on YouTube. It's the channel of a DIY, and yeah, it opens with a button, as you can see, and then there are all the needles and the crochet hooks that you want to put inside. I made 2 or 3 of those, but this is the one that I mostly use. And actually I didn't like the yarn. It was something that I had in my stash, and it might even have been from GDR times, you know, East Germany. And it's quite the best yarn for a project like that. And you know, I always thought it was ugly, but in this project, well, I like it. I must say, it's like the ugly duckling that became a swan. Yeah, and then, still on YouTube, I came across the pattern of the lattice lace shawl by the Crochet Crowd. And this is it. And there's a funny story behind the yarn as well. Well, it's not funny, it's an old story. 30 years ago, when I was at university, I met a girl from the UK. Her name was or is Angela, and I remember we made lemon curd together, and she gave the yarn to me. I can't tell you the name or the company or anything about the yarn, except that it's blue, but you can see that, can't you? Yeah, and eventually I made something from it. And I like this one, even if it's a little bit too bright and it doesn't match most of the things that I wear. But yeah, it was such an easy work, and the memories that I had about the yarn and about Angela and making lemon curd together, yeah, it was quite funny. And then I wore this to work, and a colleague of mine asked me if I would make one for her, and she gave me the yarn, which was mint green, and then she asked me to make another one for her granddaughter, and the yarn was pink, and pink is not my color. And this one and the green one, I think, were made within a week. When you can have time each day and can crochet, well, it's no deal. It's finished very fast. But the pink one took like 3 or 4 weeks, because pink. Yeah, I don't know what it is with me and pink, but there you have it. Right now I'm working on a baby blanket, and the baby was due in December, but it was early. It's already there. It's already born. How do you say that? It has arrived? I don't know. So anyway, I haven't finished the baby blanket yet. This is one of the blocks. It's a pattern by Jody Pyott. I hope I didn't butcher your name. And it's the breath baby blanket, because it says, "Your first breath took hours away." And there are some blocks with hearts, and then the borders. And yeah, this is one of the finished blocks. And yesterday I worked like all day long, and at the end of the day my middle finger was injured. I couldn't hold the yarn anymore. I hold the yarn and the project with those 2 fingers. I have the yarn here. I can't show you how I make it, but I couldn't hold anything any longer. It hurt so much, and so today I can't crochet, and that's also a reason why I'm sitting here making this video. Okay, speaking of the baby, I made another project for the baby, and this is already finished. That's the other project. It's knitted up. Those are baby shoes, and yeah, actually my mom used to make those, and when she was ill and had to go to the hospital, she always had baby shoes in her bag and gave them away to some surprised couple who just had their baby. So yeah, she always had baby shoes in her, and it's from this book. Wait a moment, I'll show you. Oh, it's quite heavy. Die ganze Welt des Strickens, the whole world of knitting, and there are loads more of interesting projects in here, not only for babies, but also, as you can see, also socks and sweaters and bags and cushions, everything, but it's very heavy. Well, yeah, so I made these shoes for my friend and her baby. Okay, and there we are, my knitting adventures. Let's talk a little bit about shoes or socks, because if you can do baby shoes, you can do socks. This is the pair that I made last, just vanilla socks with, I don't know, the classic heel. I don't know. I have seen other podcasts and you talk about the heels a lot, and I just made the heel that was in the pattern. And it's a 2x2 rib, and also the classic toe. I don't know. I really do not know. It's the one pattern that I know by heart, and the socks fit me. And the only problem is, oh, I have another. That's not the problem. The only problem is, from a 100 yarn skein, I can make 3 socks. See, I only have 2 feet. 3 socks. But, well, I declare this a pair as well. So I mix my socks the way I like it. Sometimes I just take 2 socks, and sometimes it's a pair, and sometimes it's a different pair. Well, who says that socks have to be the same? Nobody. So You see, from 2 skeins of different yarns, I have 3 pairs, and 1 pair looks like this. Okay, that's a little bit silly, don't you think? Enough of socks and footwear, let's talk about shawls. And I would like to talk about the most boring shawl project I ever made. Why was it boring? Well, being a knitter for, I don't know, 20 years. I learned crocheting when I was a child, but then I never did it until recently. Well, I can't say never. I made some minor projects like little pictures, but no, I really have fun crocheting, and it's faster than knitting. It doesn't look that elegant. It has another style. Well, I like crocheting. And knitting, I learned knitting like 10 years later when I was 16 or 17, I don't know. And my mom used to do these tablecloths, very, very fine lace patterns. And well, I always had fun knitting. And the more difficult the pattern is, the better. Like this one with lace and a lot of different patterns. There are little hearts in here, and you have to count your stitches all the time, and it's getting more complicated with every row that you make. And then I bought this yarn. It's from Katja. I forgot the name of the yarn because yeah, I just forgot. And the pattern came with the yarn, so they gave me the pattern when I bought the yarn, and I thought, well, you can make the scarf. I mean, it's not that bad, but it was such a boring knit, and I never finished sewing the ends in. Well, I never begun sewing the ends in. I never finished the scarf. Well, I don't know. It was so boring that I just put it away somewhere, and yeah, thought it would be a funny story to talk on a video about, on a video. Another shawl that was quite challenging and was a lot of fun to knit is the Bee Queen shawl by Dominique Trad. I don't know if you are French or English. Maybe it's Dominique Trad. Oh, it's the wrong side, I'm sorry. You have to see it from the good side, of course. And it's the first time that I made a picot bind-off. That was a challenge. It was an adventure, but I'm so pleased with how it turned out. And the yarn, I must show you the yarn. I still have a skein of the yellow one. The yarn is so soft and so easy to knit with. I wish you could hold it. It's I bought it on Etsy, Nicole C. Mendes. It's her sock base, 80% merino extra fine and 20% polyamide, and the colorway is golden, and the brown part is the colorway chestnut. And wow, you can't imagine how I like this, but it had to be blocked because after I finished I thought, what's that? And then I blocked it really aggressively, and it turned out so well that I have it on my wall in my hobby room, and only when I want to wear it I take it down. I love this one. It's really great. So, and speaking of yarns and of the fair in Berlin, Kreativtage, did I mention that already? Last Friday, the 27th, and Saturday and Sunday, in Berlin there was a fair, Kreativtage. And I went there on Friday, and I was there last year. And when I was there last year, I bought mostly sewing stuff because I wanted to learn how to sew. And this the yarn stand was there as well. The yarn stand where I bought yarn this year, but last year I thought, wow, you don't need yarn, but it's so beautiful. Oh, it's so expensive. You want to have it? No, you have to, well, you know. And this year I bought it. This is 800 meters of a yak silk yarn, and it's even softer than the other one. I don't know what it will be, and the colors, it's turquoise and green and blue. The colorway actually is named after a fairy tale by the Brothers Grimm. It's called Das Wasser des Lebens, Water of Life. And I got the fairy tale in the evening in an email from the owner of the shop. I forgot the name of the company, I'm sorry. Chestnut Cabin is the yarn. Well, I will put it in the description. I hope I have some information about it. So this is the purchase of this year's Kreativtage, and I bought a set for a bag that I want to sew, but I don't have it here. I just want to show you the things that I bought last year, and they had a set for this bag. I love the fabric. It's so sewing related and so vintagey. It blew my mind, and it took me quite some time before I started sewing this. I wanted to make sure that I know how to do it, because you have to put those things in here. I mean, it's not too difficult. After having sewed like 3 different bags from this CD, which I also bought last year at the Kreativtage, it was quite easy to make this bag. And another thing that I made is this one, but there is a funny story with it as well. I ordered a kit or a set, and you have the instructions here, and the fabric, the zip, and even the well, it's not yarn, it's the thread that you need, all in the colors. And I was so afraid to use this that I used fabric that I bought for, well, cents in the local shop here, and I made this bag with the instructions, but with fabric that I still had at home. And well, I do like it. I know where I went wrong with the zip, because it's the wrong way, but I made a zip into a bag. And even look at this. It's something that you can hang up like this. Oh, I don't know if you can see it when I hold it here. So you can put things in the little pockets, and it would hang in your bathroom, and you have your toothbrush and everything in there. Yeah, and when you want to take it with you somewhere else, you just roll it together and close it, and you have this bag. And I will do the same bag again with this fabric, because now I know how to make it. But that's how I think, or how I function. I still like this fabric too much to start working on it. Well, but I made another bag, and this is this is my first ever project bag. It's the pattern by Nicole Clark. It's the holiday bag, and actually for the fabric that I used, a bigger bag would have been better, but well, I didn't know it before. And it is something special for me, because it's the first time that I used leather, and this is very slippery, so it didn't well, I don't have to tell you, but well, yeah, it didn't line up the way I wanted it, because it kept moving around under the needle. And the other problem are the dogs. I mean, here you have one dog in the middle, but on the other side you hardly notice that are dogs. So that's what I mean when I say I need to do something bigger with this fabric. But I liked it very much, and I like this bag very much. It's not finished yet. I have to close the sides where the zip came in. The zip is very, very nicely, and there's a lining very nicely. The zip is beautiful. I don't know. And there's a lining inside. It's the same fabric that you saw here for the lining, because I had it. And yeah, that's it. Oh no, I can show you my garments. I mean, not my garments, but the garments I try to make for my dolls. Look at that. It's I found the instructions for this little dress in the internet as well. It's by Gerda Göbel. I will put the link in the description. Yeah, that was the first time I tried to make this dress, and yeah, it didn't turn out the way that I wanted it. There are still some imperfections, so I made it again for the bigger doll that I have in another fabric. And look at that. Doesn't that look cute? Well, this one turned out quite beautifully, and now they do not hide anymore in some cupboard. They are sitting on my couch because they have so beautiful dresses. Well, and that's the end of my little video. It's getting dark outside. It took longer than I thought, but I did it. And well, if you want to see more, please tell me in the comments below, because I do not plan to make this something regular. I just want to make the occasional video in English when I finish something especially adventurous. So if you leave me a comment, I might make another video. And until then, bye!